Yeah, so the centerpiece is permanence for families and small businesses, which is incredibly pro-growth, adds about 1.5 million new jobs and higher paychecks. But also, it's really about changing the culture in Washington. You know, the original tax reform is changing the direction of the economy in a better way. Washington tends to wait 30 years in between tax reform. We fall behind our competitors around the world. We junk up the tax code. So we think we ought to do it differently, improve the tax code every year, make it more competitive and more innovative. So the other parts of 2.0 are some changes in savings to allow businesses to offer more plans, encourage workers and families to save more and earlier in their life. And then finally, the part I think you'll like as well, we think America needs to continue to be innovative. There's a new proposal that really helps brand new entrepreneurs sort of take that next step in growth. We think incredibly pro-growth.
When you say protecting middle class and small business tax cuts, just put some meat on the bones. Exactly what is the strategy? What are you trying to do?
Yeah, so making permanent, as you know, there are goofy budget rules in Washington, and so we were able to make the corporate rates permanent because we had to get competitive. Now this makes the family and the small business rate cuts permanent as well. We want families to be able to count on this as well as our small businesses.
Is there any thought, though, and I'm just sort of curious where you land on this, that you might want to have the flexibility to change the rates in the future? And are these tax cuts, as great as they have been in terms of spurring the economy, and there's no question that there has been a boost as a result of it, whether it's just a temporary sugar high, and whether ultimately all of this is going to pay for itself?
Well, I think two thoughts. One, that's why we think every year, just like the most successful businesses who are waking up every day thinking, how do we become more competitive, more innovative, and better? We think Congress ought to always be focused on how we do the same with our tax code, because our competitors around the world are not going to stand still. We should always be looking to improve on it. And secondly, you know, I think our deficits would be higher if we hadn't got this economy going and changed the trajectory of the U.S. economy. So I still think we have in Washington a spending problem, not a revenue problem, because one point I always like to make, Washington per person has been taking more from Americans. It's almost at a record high. Taxpayers are doing their share. I think Washington isn't doing theirs. So I think getting the economy going was a critical part of this.
Chairman Brady, are we soon reaching a tipping point? I mean, a lot of people will say the tax reform really helped corporate America, and we've certainly seen it in the results, but we're at a point now where the tariffs and rising costs are also impacting corporate America. Just this morning, we heard from General Motors saying that they're going to face additional costs for the full year. They took down their guidance. Same thing with Fiat Chrysler. Coca-Cola, in their earnings report, mentioned the higher costs of aluminum. Are we at a point now where the gains that we've gotten from tax reform are being taken away by tariffs, and are you worried about that?
Yeah, so the answer is yes. But the first point, the relief here wasn't just on corporations. Yes, we had to make them competitive, unlock the investment. As you can tell from the wage growth, the consumer confidence, and Main Street optimism, it's gone far beyond that. And as to the second question, yes, I do worry tariffs are taxes. They impede economic growth. They pick winners and losers. We do worry about that. So far, I think our economic growth has been strong enough to overcome that. But over time, there is going to be that impact. And back home, I can tell you in Texas, you know, our manufacturers are losing work to foreign competitors because of the tariffs. We're seeing energy projects go up in price because of that's why we're working with the president to target these to China and unfairly traded products, take it off the fairly traded products in our relationships with countries like Canada, Mexico, and in Europe.
Chairman, speak to this, because it does feel like the economy, it doesn't just feel like the numbers have shown that we've been growing, and clearly when you look at unemployment in this country, things have improved remarkably. Having said that, the CBO says that the federal deficit is now going to hit $804 billion in fiscal year 2018. That would be a 21% increase from 2017's deficit. Does that concern you, given the tax cuts?
It does, but it's not the tax cuts. CBO also says revenues are growing in Washington, not shrinking. They're growing over that period. It's the spending that's far exceeding that. That's what we have to tackle. And again, look, taxpayers per person are being taxed have been taxed at almost near record highs. That's not the problem. It is the spending side of this. So yeah, that's the area we need to tackle.
Hey there, thanks for checking out CNBC on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to stay up to date on all of the day's biggest stories. You can also click on any of the videos around me to watch the latest from CNBC. Thanks for watching.